Hey, it's Max92. Welcome back to another wrap-up. This time, we've got a wrap-up on Space Jam: The New Legacy, the game. So this was like some free game that I think I got it early or something via Game Pass Ultimate. And I was like, sure, let's make a little video about that. I mean, I want to jump on some Space Jam SEO. Why not? So, it takes about an hour to to finish the game on normal. It's like a 2D retro-inspired side-scrolling beat-em-up type game, which is kind of confusing to me. Like, why isn't it a basketball game? Why is it a beat-em-up? But whatever. Shaq Fu is a game that exists. Both of them. So I just think it would have been better as like an NBA Jam type game. But apparently this is some sort of like contest winning thing. Like it was like fan inspired, and there was like a contest where people like gave their ideas, and then like the best ideas were chosen, like the best like 2 ideas were chosen and made into the game or something. I did not see this contest. Apparently it was in like last year, at the end of last year. Didn't see that, so don't know what the contest was. I just know what the game is. And the game is like a kind of pretty minimal content marketing piece. Like interactive marketing, essentially, is what it is. It's not bad, it's just short. There's not much to it. It's got a normal mode and a hard mode for its like story. Then it has a boss rush, and then you have 8 cards to collect, which are like your special move in a beat 'em up game. You press a button and it's like a screen clear or something. The one that I ended up using most was just the one that dropped health items, because I felt I needed health items a lot. There wasn't a lot of health items that were around. You've got your 3 playable characters, which are Bugs Bunny, LeBron James, and Lola Bunny. It is co-op. I only played single player, but I did play a little bit of the different characters, and they play very similarly, but they do have different special moves, each of them. So for negatives, my biggest negative is that the special moves that each character have, you press on an Xbox controller X and A at the same time, and that does a little special attack, and that does damage to your health. That takes health away. That's fine. It's something I've seen before, something that's like in Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. There's a move where you kind of spin around and throw your hat or something, and that does damage to you, or whatever. The issue is that X and A are your attack and jump buttons, meaning the buttons that you're going to be using a lot. And there's a lot of buttons that aren't used, like the shoulder buttons and the triggers, and so it's sort of like, why weren't these mapped to, you know, other buttons? Like, why wasn't your special move just mapped to a button? Because I kept using it constantly without intending to. I just would use it when I wasn't wanting to, because it is your punch and your jump pressed together, and you're gonna do that, jump and punch. It's sort of, there's only one punch button, so that's what you're gonna end up doing, is jump and punch. Otherwise, and other control negatives, I would have liked, you know, like a heavy attack, so you have a light and a heavy attack instead of just one punch button, just for a little bit more complexity, maybe some combos. There's an achievement for getting like a 5 juggle, but juggles are kind of hard to do because every time you hit someone they get further away and all that. It's just common beat 'em up stuff, but I feel like one of the things that happens when you take this sort of retro inspired thing is you sort of have a tendency to fall into the negatives or the things that have since been improved about the genre. So like beat 'em ups nowadays have, you know, combos and all this stuff that make them more interesting to play. And so having one attack, your like special attack, and then like your card special, that's that. In multiplayer, you can pass the basketball, but that button doesn't do anything in single player. So there's only like 3 or 4 moves to do. Another negative that I have is that it seems like the game might be balanced a bit more towards having multiple players, especially in things like the boss rush, where I'm not sure how you're supposed to get through that on one life on your own. I'm sure it's possible, but like for an average player, I think that's a bit of an ask. I don't know if the game has adaptive difficulty based on the amount of players you have. It entirely might, but I think that the difficulty, if that is the case, I think the difficulty the single player has is a bit more skewed towards having multiple people, and I think that difficulty could have been brought down a little bit. I also have issues with the live system, especially since there doesn't seem to be a way to get more lives. Again, I only played the game for like 2 hours or so maybe I just missed some things. I know that on a second playthrough of a boss, I noticed attacks that I didn't remember seeing the first time. So maybe there are just more things, and it's built more to be replayed a few times. But I didn't see a way to get more lives. So the sort of 2 lives you start with means you're probably going to be using a continue for me, I ended up using a continue, 2 continues, I think, in my normal mode playthrough. I had sort of gotten the hang of it a bit better when I played through a little bit of the hard mode, but I died on the second boss, and I didn't feel like using continue and going back. I was only going through because there is an achievement for beating it without a continue. There is an achievement and a card you unlock for beating it on hard. There is an achievement and a card you unlock for beating the boss rush. So I tried a little bit of those. I just think that either you need to either justify your live system or take it out and make something else, because at this point, outside of the arcade, we've basically moved past a live system in most types of games. So either figure out a way to make it work better or don't put it in. Otherwise, I did have a good time with it. Again, it was like 2 hours. It was an interesting way to spend my 2 hours. If you sort of have 2 friends, it's local multiplayer only. So if you have 2 friends physically on hand to do, the thing through, sit down for an hour or 2 hours if you want to do both easy and hard, or normal and hard, or whatever, and have some fun with friends. I think it's at least good for that. But again, I think I got it early through Game Pass Ultimate, so I'm not sure if this is publicly available yet. But once it is, I lightly recommend it. I recommend it if, you're okay with playing an interactive marketing piece and you have friends on hand. So that's the wrap up. It's an interesting one. I'm vaguely interested in seeing this Space Jam movie. So we'll get into the end bits here. Down in the description, you'll find links to all my places: Twitter, Patreon, the Discord server, Bandcamp, etc. Down in the description. Like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. Subscribe if you want to keep up with this and other shows. I have many, many shows, and hopefully more in the future. Leave a comment again. Are you going to watch the new Space Jam movie? What do you think about this little interactive marketing piece that got released? What do you think about the Xbox controllers that got released alongside this? I don't really like any of their designs, mostly because the buttons cover text on most of them. But hey, maybe you do. Leave a comment. Let me know. Share the video if you want to tell your friends to play this with you. Get them together to play. I don't know. Do the things. And anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.